Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are in A Course in Miracles, Workbook for Students, Part 2 of the workbook. We are in Section 12, What is the Ego? This is Lesson 337. My sinlessness protects me from all harm. My sinlessness ensures me perfect peace, eternal safety, everlasting love, freedom forever from all thought of loss, complete deliverance from suffering. And only happiness can be my state, for only happiness is given me. What must I do to know all this is mine? I must accept atonement for myself and nothing more. 152. What it means to accept atonement for myself in this context is clarified later in the paragraph. To do so, I merely accept myself, my sinlessness created for me, now already mine. In other words, rather than doing something to try to purify myself of sin, I accept that I am already sinless because that is how God created me. God has already done all things that need be done. I but must learn I need do nothing of myself, for I need but accept myself, capital S, my sinlessness created for me, now already mine, to feel God's love protecting me from harm, to understand my Father loves His Son, to know I am the Son my Father loves. You who created me in sinlessness are not mistaken about what I am. I was mistaken when I thought I sinned, but I accept atonement for myself. Father, my dream is ended now. Amen. And now we will read the commentary by Alan Watson and any practice suggestions by Robert Perry. Lesson 337, My sinlessness protects me from all harm. This is a practice suggestion by Robert Perry. Think of your day yesterday, and in relation to each thing you did, ask yourself, was there an element of if I do this thing right, I'll redeem myself? Then, with each yes you get, ask yourself, what was I trying to redeem myself for? Then, focus on simply accepting the awareness from God that you are sinless, that you need do nothing to be redeemed because God has already done all things that need be done. Commentary. This is a lesson about simply accepting the atonement and nothing more. It states that there are really only two steps to the full knowledge of complete happiness. 1. Realize that I need do nothing of myself. And 2. Accept what God has already done. All of the turmoil and discomfort we experience as we begin a spiritual path comes from thinking that we lack something which is not seen step 2, and therefore we have to do something to get it which is not seen step 1. We feel unhappy, and therefore we think we lack happiness and set out to seek it. Unhappiness is not a condition of lack, it is a condition of denial. We are actively negating happiness, which is our natural state. We are blocking out the awareness of love's presence. I wish I could sleep as well as my dogs do. We are covering over the joy of our created nature, of simply being, with a filthy patina of unfulfillment. We think the solution is to do something. Actually, the solution is to stop doing something, to put an end to the activity that is obscuring our happiness. That is one of the values of meditation. When we deliberately bring a stop to our mental activity, we often suddenly feel happy. That is because we are always happy, but we are constantly generating unhappiness by our thoughts. Stop the thoughts and the happiness shines through. Clear away the clouds and the sun is always there. We have taught ourselves that we are this constant mental activity. Letting go of that activity is an extreme threat to the ego. If we let it go, nothing is left, or so we fear. So the ego tells us. The ego lies. All we need to do is stop doing. What we are without any activity at all is enough to support perfect, constant happiness. And now I will lead us into meditation of lesson 337. My sinlessness protects me from all harm. You who created me in sinlessness are not mistaken about what I am. I was mistaken when I thought I sinned, but I accept atonement from myself. Father, my dream is ended now. Amen. My sinlessness protects me from all harm. much for joining with me in the meditation of Lesson 337, My Sinlessness Protects Me from All Harm. We will now read Alan Watson's commentary, What is the Ego, from paragraph 4, sentence 1. To know reality is not to see the ego in its thoughts, its works, its acts, its laws, and its beliefs, its dreams, its hopes, its plans for its salvation, and the cost belief in it entails. Knowing reality consists simply of not seeing illusions. Without illusions to conceal it, reality is self-evident. That is why we need do nothing. We don't have to make reality. We don't have to make ourselves sinless or happy or peaceful. We simply have to stop seeing the thing that obscures reality from our sight, the ego and everything to do with it. The list of all the aspects of the ego that we are not to see is needful for us. The list of all the aspects of the ego that we are not to see is needful for us, because if the lesson simply said that to know reality is not to see the ego, we would not be sure what was meant. By listing all the things related to the ego, thoughts, works, acts, laws, beliefs, dreams, hopes, plans for salvation, and the cost it demands of us, we are more likely to understand the full import of what not seeing the ego means. Not just the acts of the ego needed to be banished from our sight, but all the things that drive those acts. I am especially struck with its plan for salvation. The ego has many plans for getting us out of the mess we think we are in. But we aren't really in a mess. We have simply covered over reality with illusions, and the reality is still there. We don't have to do anything to find it. We don't need to make plans for our salvation. Indeed, making plans for our salvation just digs the ego rut deeper. We need, as Lesson 337 points out, to understand I need do nothing of myself, for I need but accept myself, my sinlessness created for me, now already mine, to feel God's love protecting me from harm. Thank you so much for joining with me in Lesson 337. My sinlessness protects me from all harm.